Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
You got the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show coming to you from the Sugar Shack Studios just outside Houston, Texas. Just ahead, we're going to talk to Mr. Carfax himself, Patrick Olsen.
All right.
Jeff has the cruise-in calendar, and we'll have stories making automotive news headlines this week coming up in this segment of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. We always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us. Chief Engineer David Ainsley vacationing in the UP of Michigan. His big 3-week vacation once a year.
So jealous.
And he's in the middle of it. Yeah, you know it.
Great weather.
Well, we've been talking about car sales, and we touched a little bit on the problems that new car dealers are having. They've got some cars on the lots for sale, like 22 model years that they just can't get rid of.
Just found that out. Yeah.
We didn't have any clue about that. But Carfax, you've all heard about Carfax. Great service. I think everybody has used them at some time or another. Patrick Olsen joins us. Pat, it's good to see you again, my friend.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thank you. So what's the state of car sales? Now, I know that you guys generally are into used cars, and you do, and we'll get into all of that in a minute, but you also keep a close tab on what's happening in the new car market, don't you?
Absolutely. In fact, it was almost just about a year ago today that we launched new car listings on Carfax. But we've been watching new car trends for years and years. And it's an interesting time. There's more inventory than there's been since COVID, but still not as much as there was before COVID. So it can be a little dicey for both dealers and consumers out there.
Well, I got news just yesterday, that Stellantis, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, sales down 20% in the last quarter. Holy cow, what's going on there?
Well, one of the things that Stellantis did during COVID was they raised their prices more than their competitors did. And they had a lot of popular vehicles. They had Jeeps, very popular. Their Ram trucks do very well. But I think now as COVID has gone away and competitors have more options on the lot, they've become the expensive brands in the market. Well, now, to be fair, if you look at Stellantis vehicles, their interiors are terrific looking. They're very high quality. But today, there's so many shoppers looking for affordability, and I think they're on the other side of that fence.
Would they ever lower their prices? Let's just say for a Ram 1500, a high-end one, $170,000, $80,000. Would the factory tell the dealer, hey, look, we know you got too many of them sitting on the lot. Would they ever say, we're going to have a fire sale, lower it by $10,000, we'll take the hit?
There are times, and I don't know about Stellantis specifically, but there are absolutely times when automakers decide that they've reached too far and they will cut a deal to dealers, for example, and tying it to sales, right? If you can sell X number, we'll give you a spiff of X thousands of dollars per extra vehicle that you sell. Because what the dealers don't want and what Stellantis ultimately doesn't want are too many cars sitting on lots. And so they will work with dealers to create incentives to try to get those things off. We see now even a lot more low interest financing. I think we're going to see more cashback rebates coming soon to get some of these vehicles off of the lots.
And isn't this the biggest sales season of the year typically?
Well, actually, the biggest sales season of the year is around tax day. So your March, April, May is usually the highest selling point of the year. A lot of people take their tax refund and make that their down payment on a car. So summers can be a little sleepier, and then as we get back into the fall and the end of the year, we'll see another bump in sales. So right now, it's a little harder for dealers to get people into the doors because they're worried about their vacation and hanging out with their kids.
Well, that and the fact that interest rates are sky high, prices of vehicles are sky high, EVs aren't really making it happen on the sales lots. Crossovers, they're the big thing. I mean, there's so many factors in play here.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, you talk about EVs, Tesla sales are down, but everyone else who's not Tesla, their EV sales are way up to 20-30%. Used EVs, if you want an EV, and they're not for everybody, but if you want an EV, now is a great time to look into a used EV. They're down like 20-30% lower than internal combustion engine vehicles. And part of that is because there's not a lot of infrastructure around to support them. But if you put a charger in at home, they could be a great alternative.
Now, when you say EV, is it all electric EV that you're talking about, or some of the hybrids, some of the plug-in EVs? Because there's people that I know that have a Tesla. Come time for that battery to maybe be going out, or hey, keep an eye on it, they traded it or got rid of the vehicles and they went back to an ICE engine car. So I don't know, is that considered, or is that why?
Well, I think partly, I think that even now we're still with electric vehicles. When I say EV, I mean pure electric. I think plug-in hybrids are a great sort of bridge between internal combustion to electric. But when I'm talking about EV, I mean pure electric. And, as I said, they certainly aren't for everybody. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people have discovered that the national level of infrastructure for charging is not where it needs to be, even with the something like 2.5-3 million EVs that are on the road today. And so that, I think, is turning a lot of people off to, I want to, like with a gas car, I can fill it up whenever I want, wherever I want. And that is not the case for a lot of electric vehicles.
Exactly.
So where do we stand with the used car market right now? Is it flooded? Is it weak? Do we have cars?
Well, we have more cars than we had a year ago, which is great. The downside, though, is back in 2021, in the second half of 2021, leasing kind of fell off the map. And leasing is great for used cars because you wind up with a lot of 3-year-old, maybe 4-year-old cars that come off of leases, and they are typically, they have been mileage throttled, if you will, by their lease deal, and so they have 20,000, 30,000 miles on them. They're usually in great shape. In a normal depreciation cycle, they're valued about 40 or 50% of the original price.
Wow.
Yeah, but now because leasing almost came to a stop in the second half of 2021 because of supply chains and other issues, now there isn't that flood of cars coming into what we call the certified pre-owned world. And so there's not these high value, really desirable cars. And I think that's going to jack up prices in the next few months for used cars.
So how are things on Carfax? I mean, I have a used car. Let's just take my Corvette. No, it's too old. Let's use one that's, say, a C7 Corvette that is from, 2021, and it's got 40,000 miles on it. Are there a lot of those cars being placed on Carfax?
Actually, we do see pretty good inventory from, and again, within the most recent year. So when we look at the last 3 model years, so 23, 22, 21, we've got really good representation on Carfax for that. And the beauty of Carfax, as you guys know, is that you can see how many owners has this had. So like that C7, is it on its first owner or third owner? And I would certainly want one that was on its first owner, someone who's going to baby it. We can tell you whether or not it was a rental car, which the Corvette likely is not. We can tell you if it's been serviced regularly. All these things that you really want to know before you're going to lay down, in the case of a C7, 50, 60 grand for that car.
Yeah. Let's talk about the service records of a car.
Yeah.
How do you find out about the service record of a car? Because I may take my car over to Joe Blow's 5 and dime oil change place. Is he going to report that?
Well, so we work with about 75% of all the service shops in the United States who report the work that they've done on cars to us. And the important thing here is we know about it at a VIN level. We don't know about it at a personal level. So we never get personal information. All we get is info about the metal, about the car.
Yeah.
But the beauty of that is, as an owner, you can point to those service records and to the next potential buyer and say, look, I kept up with this, and your car will be worth anywhere from a few $100s more to a couple $1,000s more than somebody who has no receipts for the work that they've had done. And of course, for buyers, having that sort of, health record for that car is crucially important in deciding, is this the right place to drop 50 grand or is that the right place to drop 50 grand?
How far back in the records do you go on a car?
We go back to, in many cases, all the way back to the birth of VINs, right, which is 1981. We don't obviously have very many cars that are that old, but if it has a 17-digit VIN from this country, we'll have records on it.
Yeah, see, with Kylie's, we got the Carfax on Kylie's, my granddaughter's car, and it started out as a car for a company. It was a company car for some oil company. They sold it to an individual, and that individual traded it in and sold it back. So over the course of the car's life, the 10 years, it had 2 owners. Third now, because she owns it.
Yeah. And how many miles did it have on it?
32,000.
32,000 miles. So that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And typically, company cars, to my knowledge, most company cars, they're taken care of. They get the oil changed. They get the recalls done and that sort of thing.
Well, and to that point, there were 2 open recalls on it because of Carfax notification. So she took care of those when she got the car. So it was all up and up.
Above board.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I think the part about recalls these days is really important. We've been talking a lot here about Takata recalls. The recall is 10 years old from the first time that NHTSA talked about Takata airbags. Yet there are still more than 6.5 million cars, not airbags, cars nationwide that need these airbags out. There's nearly 800,000 in the state of Texas that need to get these airbags replaced. And so it's been 10 years, but clearly we in the automotive media are not making enough noise to get consumers to wake up and get those recalls taken care of.
What do you think the problem is there?
Well, in talking about his daughter's car, she's the third owner, and they had only found out about the recalls through Carfax. So I think there's a few things at play here. One, recall notices come by mail, which is nobody's primary means of communication anymore. Secondly, I think some people get a recall notice and they think it's some kind of extended warranty marketing scam, and they toss it aside. And then there are people who get it and they think, well, I'm going to get to this, and a few weeks go by, a few months go by, and they're like, you know what, nothing's happening in my car. I must be safe. And unfortunately, it's just not the case.
Well, and some of them, people look at it, my granddaughter's car has a recall on it, some issue with the radio. She doesn't use the radio, and I keep telling her about it. She keeps saying, I'm going to go get it fixed when I have time, but she uses her media device, her phone, ties into her audio system, so she really doesn't care if the radio ever gets fixed.
Well, a lot of times, that radio is the hub or the computer for the car, because on my pod in my Cadillac, everything runs through that. So if that pod goes out for whatever reason, you're losing other features of the vehicle, the radio, maybe your air conditioning, or maybe some light configurations on your dash.
Yeah.
Everything runs through that mainframe.
It's interesting you should say that because, sorry, Patrick, we're having a little discussion here. But,
no, you're good.
In my car, my Corvette, it doesn't run through the radio. It's got its own set of ways to get into the computer through a set of buttons over here right outside of the instrument panel. So there are different ways. But yes, I think that the radio originally was the way to get into or getting access to the car's computer.
Right.
Patrick?
Yeah, I think you guys are both right that the approach has changed. The issue, though, is, as you all have pointed out, no one clearly knows the extent of the reach of that radio, right? So get the work done, whether you use that thing or not. I would say get the work done because you don't know if there's some connection to a module that sets the air, for the passenger airbag notification.
Yep.
Does that come through there? I don't know. But
I agree with you.
I would not leave an open recall on any car I had because, one, it's going to affect your value when you go to sell it, and two, you just want to have complete peace of mind and get that work done.
So I want to sell my car. Do I list it on Carfax?
You cannot. So what we do, we only work with dealers. So dealers pay a subscription fee to us to list their inventory on Carfax. And when they do, they agree to provide the free Carfax report with that listing. So if I were you, I would find a broker or somebody. If we're talking about your Corvette again, a very specific car, I would treat that sale very differently than a Camry or a Malibu, for example.
Right. That's interesting. I did not know that. So the dealer is the real key there. So if I sell it to the dealer and I go look up the car on Carfax that I'm interested in, that's going to be through a dealer somewhere, and it's going to point me in that direction.
Absolutely. And the great thing about Carfax is we have millions of dealer ratings. So when people buy a car, when people send a lead to a dealership about a car, we'll ask those users to rate those dealerships. So we have, for any major dealership in your area, we'll have hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews that will tell you which are the ones that people love and which are the ones that people avoid.
I just find the whole thing, the way that Carfax has through the years done different things and gained popularity and has infiltrated our lives really in a good way. It's truly amazing.
Oh, it's our 40th year this year. So for us, it's a big year, but we are no longer just vehicle history reports. We are, used car listings. We're new car listings. We have our car care app where you can track all of the work you do on your car, get reminded when more work is done, totally for free. We are now throughout that whole life cycle. We're not just the last thing you do before you buy. We are now the app where we have the information you need for the entire cycle of that car. You can shop with us now, look at our reviews, look at our rankings, pick the car you want, find a local dealer, buy it, own it, maintain it over that time, get ready to sell it. You can use our Sell My Car feature, or you can, take it to a private party or dealership.
So essentially anything with a VIN number you can track.
Everything with a number we can track, yes. Although we don't do things like motorcycles.
I was going to say, boats, motorcycles.
Right. Yeah, we don't do that. Just primarily vehicles. Yep.
So if Don's 2001 Corvette, if you were talking about sending out notifications, is there a way he could register his Corvette so that you could send him reminders, time to get your inspection or whatever?
Yep. My guess is that that Corvette is already in Carfax's hands, and they know that.
Well, let's just say,
and that's the beauty of our car care app is all you got to do is plug in the VIN, and there's no charge ever, and we will look and tell you what all you've had done, and we will allow you, if you are someone who changes oil yourself, you can put in there, here's my receipt from the oil I bought. It won't be on your vehicle history report, but it'll be in the app where you can show it to a potential buyer.
Okay.
And it will tell you your registration is coming due. It'll tell you it's time for a tire rotation. It'll tell you it's time for your 50,000 mile blah, blah, blah tune-up, right, with all the parts that are involved there.
Yeah. See, I can see Don takes very good care of his car, obviously, but I can see where somebody that might not pay as much attention to their car could definitely use something like that. Here's your reminder.
Right. I get my oil changed when it's got like 90% oil life left. I just don't drive it that much.
Loves you.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something here. All the stuff that I've helped you with, I should be Carfax.
Yeah,
I've done all kinds of stuff in your car.
Fax.
Yeah.
Jeff Fax. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say Carfax is a registered trademark. So be
careful.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Exactly. Well, great information as always, and we thoroughly, really deeply appreciate all the information you got. We love Carfax. We're big fans, and thanks again, Carfax.com.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it.
Okay,
Patrick,
you bet.
Yeah, take care.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff. All right. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. Grab a podcast anytime from your favorite podcast provider. We also video stream our live 3-hour weekly show on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Pro-Am Auto Accessories has been serving Houston's auto enthusiasts since 1984, providing world-class products for sports cars, European sedans, and American muscle. Pro-Am is known as the place to go to find exclusive and hard-to-find parts and accessories. Pro-Am is one of the very first distributors in the USA for brands such as Recaro, Redline, Momo, Corbo, and Simpson. Located in the heart of Houston's premier retail and service corridor, the Galleria area, Pro-Am's walk-in storefront includes an 8,000 square foot warehouse, showroom, and installation bays. Pro-Am not only sells parts and accessories, but also offers installation and service. Pro-Am is now reaching a worldwide audience through Pro-Am.com, taking its local reputation to the rest of the world. At Pro-Am Auto, you'll be dealing with a small group of professionals who truly want to help you with your automotive needs. If you don't see what you're looking for on the website, call and Pro-Am will lend you a hand. Pro-Am Auto, 6125 Richmond at Green Ridge in Houston's Galleria area. Call them at 713-781-7755. Want to feel good about something special you did for someone special? In Wheel Time and the original Lupe Tortilla group of Tex-Mex restaurants have joined together to help a very worthy cause, God's Garage, a Christian-based 501c3 charity. We know there are lots of places and organizations out there where you can donate a car, truck, or SUV, but we're asking you, our car enthusiast family, to consider donating to God's Garage. Visit godsgarage.org and learn about its mission, the women that have been helped, how each one is screened, and about their Restore You program. A car donation is an easy way to make a difference in the lives of others. God's Garage needs good operating vehicles, but will take all types in working and non-working condition. Make your heart and soul feel good by donating your gently used vehicle and help support single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military at godsgarage.org.
Hey, welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Jeff helped me. I have to tell this story. I don't think he even told the story.
It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Because I had we were going into the studio with band rehearsals that afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. So what I did was I'm putting the car away 3 weeks ago after going to Craig's Chrome and Coffee. We'll get to that.
You were talking, yeah.
And so I look up, and I have the protector in the front windshield, and then the car cover goes over that because I don't want the interior to get any kind of sun in there.
Sure.
And so I look up, and the visor, the passenger side visor, the light is on in the vanity mirror. Thinking, oh, wait just a minute.
Hold on.
I can't do that.
Simmer down.
So I thought, okay, I'm not dealing with this. I looked at it. It's the original one. It's, what is it, 23 years old up there. Yeah. And so it's been sunshined all to death, and it's coming apart, and it's just a mess. So I thought, okay, well, I'll get on Amazon, see if I can find it. So I get 2 brand new left and right side vanity mirrors and sunshades, right, for the Corvette. You want to guess how much?
Under 100.
Probably not a lot under 100, but yeah, maybe so.
$37 delivered to my front door.
For the pair.
For the whole thing?
For the pair?
2 of them. For the pair. And they look factory brand new with LED lights for the vanity mirror. I got one of them in. The other one I had a little trouble with. Jeff helped me with that. We got that in. So I got 2.
Jeff Fax?
Yeah.
What's that?
Jeff Fax?
Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff Fax.
I was going to band rehearsal that afternoon. We're going to the studio, and the bat phone was ringing. Beep, beep, beep. To answer. Hey, what are you doing? Just packing up, doing stuff. We need some help. Okay, bring it on by. So it took maybe, 30 minutes, if that?
Oh.
It took you longer to get to my house than it did to...
Correct. Yeah. It was a very simple process, and I got 2 new sun visors up in the Corvette now for $37.
Yeah, that's the great part.
I know. And I looked, and I just bought the cheapest pair because they were all the same. They were all listed as the same with the LED lights and all that
cool.
stuff.
With the LED on it, it looks different. Yeah.
So now, when I move the vanity, the sunshade, the light doesn't come on anymore.
Yeah.
Only when you open the little door for the vanity
when
mirror.
You want it to come on.
Yeah, exactly. Time now for the cruise-in calendar.
Yeah, today, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. tonight, weather permitting, Conrail Cruisers Saturday Night Cruise. It's the Kroger Marketplace parking lot at 341 South Loop, 336 West in Conroe. Also, again, tonight, not very far from there, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., also is the weekly cruise in Montgomery, Texas. That's at 943 Ava Street in Montgomery. Check them out. Tomorrow, big one tomorrow, Don, we've got the usual first Sunday of the month.
Chrome and Coffee.
Chrome and Coffee tomorrow, 8 a.m. till, is it 8 till 11?
It's 9 to noon.
9 to noon. See, I messed that up.
At Avalon Diner.
Yep. Good breakfast, so you can go there and take a look at the cars and go have a bite to eat as well. But tomorrow at 10 a.m., the Torqued Houston Cars and Coffee at Nose Cafe at 2120 Spring Stubner in Spring, Texas. 3 p.m. tomorrow, the weekly car meetup in where? Willis. At the,
what you talking about, Willis?
At the D&M True Value at 400 West Montgomery Street in Willis. 3 to 8, you've got the Houston Rodeo 249 Sports Bar and Grill bass meet. So it's all about the audio, all the bass boom and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's tomorrow.
You know about that, Mars. The boom. You got that going.
Well, I used to actually covered a couple of those events, competition of events, when I was doing some freelance work.
Yep.
And it's really interesting to see how some of these guys, there was a team that came up from Mexico. They literally had their windshield bolted on. They had drilled through the windshield and put bolts, siliconed it in, and put bolts to keep it from vibrating, because that's what ruined their measurements and stuff. I mean, these guys get seriously silly about that.
It's the bass show tomorrow from 3 to 8.
Boom, boom,
yeah.
General Motors will pay $145.8 million penalty for a federal investigation because it found in that investigation excess emissions from about 5.9 million GM vehicles, according to U.S. regulatory agencies. The EPA said GM has agreed to give up about 50 million metric tons in carbon allowances after the multi-year investigation found vehicles from 2012 to 2018 model years were emitting more than 10% higher carbon dioxide on average than GM's initial compliance reports claimed. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration separately said GM will pay $145.8 million in penalties for fuel economy compliance issues and cancel more than 30.6 million fuel economy credits for the 2008 to 2010 model years to resolve the issues identified by EPA's light-duty vehicle in-use testing program. Shame, shame.
What is a credit? I don't know. I need credit.
I don't know, but money and credit apparently is the big
same thing. Yeah.
And former used car retailer Vroom, which, bought Texas Direct Auto down on 59, agreed to pay $1 million to settle claims levied by the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, that it misrepresented inspection work done on vehicles it sold, failed to offer consumers timely refunds when it did not deliver vehicles on schedule, and did not make certain other required disclosures. In a July 2nd complaint, the FTC alleged Vroom violated 3 of its rules that lay out regulations for automotive sales or online marketing practices. The agency proposed the $1 million payment from Vroom to reimburse customers it said were affected. It filed both the complaint and settlement agreement in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Texas. Vroom CEO Thomas Short signed the proposed settlement agreement, which also stipulates that Vroom document claims about vehicle shipping time commitments it makes to consumers.
$1 million is not a lot of money compared to what they did to everybody.
Vroom of Houston shut down its online used vehicles operation earlier this year because they're insolvent and they're obviously
not around.
They're not around anymore.
And the place is huge. That was the original Auto Nation when Auto Nation came to Texas.
Yep.
I was a team leader in that spot, in that building. Made a lot of
enemies.
No. Good career choices and things through Auto Nation. It was good.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yep.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com. More of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show after this.
The original group of Lupe Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipe means when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the first Lupe Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here is the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupe Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupe Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupe Tortilla Katy's another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Lupe's. It's located on 99 the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggieland? Head to the Lupe Tortilla in College Station. Located just around the corner from Kyle Field, it's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Going to Louisiana? The Lupe Tortilla in Beaumont is on I-10, so you can't miss it. The original group of Lupe Tortilla restaurants has the best Tex-Mex anywhere, and you're invited anytime. Your car is a direct reflection of you, so don't be satisfied with color fade or a dingy, dull appearance. Get rid of those terrible automated car wash scratches. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your Save the Paint company. John Gray and his team of detailing experts can help your cars finish without a full repaint. Searching for the real experts in window tint or windshield protection? Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Dash cams, radar detectors? Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Got a new car? Get that thing protected as soon as you take delivery. If you don't know which of the multitude of protection products to go with, John Gray will give you an honest opinion and won't sell you something you don't need or can't afford. John will help you understand the many options and pricing right on the spot. He's your guy to have your ride looking its best and protected too. See the state-of-the-art shop yourself. Free tours anytime. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is easy to get to, located just south of the Southwest Freeway on the Sam Houston Parkway. Gulf Coast Auto Shield, full service Access luxury car care today and online at gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.